Welcome to Constitutional Law. For our course, we will be studying the structure and the powers of the government of the Philippines. From time to time, we will be resorting to key concepts, basic concepts, and basic definitions as we go through the course during the entire module, during the entire semester. That is why it is important to know and be familiar with these basic concepts that is found in this video. So let's go first to the general definitions and the general concepts. Foremost is on the matter of what political law is. By the definition given in the case of perfecto or people versus perfecto, political law is that branch of public law which deals with the organization and the operation of government organs of the state and define the relations of the state with the inhabitants of its territory. The definition tells us that political law is a branch of public law, does not involve itself with private contracts or contracts involving or agreements or stipulations or laws involving personal private relations. This refers to the law that refer to more or less of a general concern, concern that is at the level of the state. For example, national territory, national security, public policy, and the likes. It relates with the matter of the organization of government and its relationship with the government of the inhabitants of its territory. So we speak here of governance and how the government functions for the benefit of the public. Understanding that definition, we need to look at this diagram. We are familiar with this diagram because it speaks of the basic elements of what a state is. For most, we have sovereignty. Sovereignty may be defined as overwhelming and powerful element, but sovereignty by common understanding is the power of the state to assert itself within its territory, and also externally, the power of the state to assert itself in the international sphere as it enters into foreign relations. People will refer to citizens, inhabitants, or voters, depending on the context on which you find the word people in the Constitution. For what a state is, the element of people requires that the state could sustain itself with its constant population. We will go back to these elements as we go through the entire module. Anyway, third element is territory. Territory is that fixed portion of the surface of the earth where you can locate the people and the state existing as such. The fourth element is the element of government. Uh, Simply stated, government is the entity through which the powers of the sovereign may be exercised for the benefit of the people. It is often said that the powers of the government must be distributed. For our jurisdiction, our government is tripartite in character. We have the Congress, we have the executive department, and the court, the judiciary. They are three equal branches of government. The powers of the three branches are not held or dominated by one or a few, but it is distributed to many, because the exclusivity or the monopoly of power in government is what you call tyranny. There's a danger of tyranny if power is concentrated on a few or of one. First branch is legislative. This is Congress. This is the lawmaking branch. In the Philippines, we have the two branches of Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Then we have the executive department. The executive department is the office of the president. This is the function of the government exercised through the executive branch of executing its policies, among others. Then we have the judiciary, which is that branch of government that settles disputes and controversies. There is an important set or aggregation of subsidiary of government. This is what you call the Constitutional Commission. The constitutional commissions guarantee that you have the exercise of powers of the state through the three branches, the most effective and incorruptible manner. No? Like the COA, for example, is that branch of government that audits governmental expenditures. The executive branch is also monitored by the COA together with the legislative and the courts, because the Commission on Audit um, assures the public that these three branches of government safely and effectively makes use of its treasury. Also, the COMELEC. COMELEC assures that elections in the state as conducted are honest and clean. It is the branch of the element of, or one of the constitutional commissions that assures that election laws are dutifully exercised and adhered to. Then you have the civil service, that branch of government that guarantees that um, uh, public service is efficient. All these three branches of government work together in unison, but when they work in unison, they are safety nets of each other. They work for the people. This functioning of the government in its service to the people speaks of what political law is. It speaks of the inherent powers of the state and the structure of government as it relates with its people, its relationship with its people in a way could what you call as a regulatory, or what you call a service. People also has a relationship with the government because it or the state, because it guarantees that um, there is adherence to its laws, there is compliance with its directives, and there is when times of require it, when times require it, there is the duty of the people also to serve and protect the state. So that's what political law is. Political law simply is the relationship of the government with its citizens. That's why in the case of Macariola versus Asuncion, we can easily see this relationship, because in this case of Macariola versus Asuncion, this landmark decision tells us that when there is that transfer of sovereignty to another, political laws are deemed abrogated. For example, when the Philippines was ceded to the US, Filipinos cut their relationship off with the Spaniards, and a new relationship, a new bond is made between us and the US. So definitely political laws, that which governs the relationship of the Spanish government with us, is severed also, because we have now a new sovereign. So the effect of the transfer of sovereignty is the abrogation of the old political law. Laws relating to personal relations are not deemed abrogated. Those which are not political are deemed not abrogated. They remain. For example, civil laws, criminal laws, laws on employment, because there is hardly any change in the relationship of the people with each other when there is a change of sovereignty. On such transfer by cession or of territory, it has never been held that the relationships of the inhabitants with each other undergo any change. The relationships with their former sovereign are dissolved, and new relations are created between them and the government which has acquired the territory. This is the scope of political law. These are the four branches of political law. We learn this all throughout the law school. Ours is the second one, constitutional law. So what is constitutional law? It is the study of the maintenance of the proper balance between authority represented by the three inherent powers and the state, of the state, and the liberty granted by the Bill of Rights. It speaks of the structure of the government and of civil liberties. But Bernas defines constitutional law, a study of the Constitution, and of course its jurisprudence, explaining the Constitution. How many constitutions do we have? Did we have, or do we have? We only have one constitution, but we underwent actually three constitutions. Well, you can say four if you include the first one, the Malolos Constitution, which was hardly a constitution that is effective in the Philippines because events supervened where Spain was uh, replaced by the Americans when they in their control of our islands. It was followed by the 1935 Constitution, which paved the way from the Commonwealth to the Republic. In the 1973 Constitution, also relevant to know that it was under the Constitution that Marcos perpetuated himself into power. And finally, we had the 1987 Constitution, the Constitution that came as an aftermath of the 1986 EDSA Revolution. The Constitution is subject to the principle of auto-limitation, whereby, if you recall, there are three inherent powers of the state: police power, eminent domain, and taxation. The state, with its illimitable competence, could act in the exercise of its powers unlimitedly. But because this is a civil and non-tyrannical government, the state limits itself, and it limits itself through the Constitution. The Constitution limits government intervention of private rights. And the government limits itself in the exercise of its powers by creating that structure of powers. We have this doctrine of constitutional supremacy. Remember this one, that the Constitution, it says that the Constitution is the law of laws. It means that the Constitution must be respected or regarded with much significance, because all laws and governmental actions must comply with it. That's why you recall in your civil law that in case of the courts declare the law inconsistent with the Constitution, the former shall be void and the latter shall govern. The law in the Constitution is superlative and supreme over the law of Congress or statute. It is even supreme to ordinances and other governmental policies. The Constitution is deemed written in all laws. The Constitution is written in all government policies as well as private contracts. For private contracts, for example, you have an agreement amongst private citizens on slavery, which is disallowed by the Constitution. For example, for statutes that violate due process or equal protection, they may be nullified because the Constitution requires of due process and the equal protection of laws. Foreign jurisprudence no longer has control over our jurisdiction because we are a different state of a unique context. What foreign jurisprudence has for us is only persuasive, never conclusive, because you can only bring in foreign jurisprudence if there is an absence of an existing jurisprudence in the Philippines on a present matter. When there is already a present jurisprudence covering a certain legal experience, you go to that jurisprudence and not resort anymore to foreign jurisprudence. Foreign jurisprudence is only persuasive. We can go to them. Therefore, when there is no controlling policy in the Philippines. We'll continue on the types of the Constitution on the next video. Thank you.